Hey guys, yeah, what's up? Hold on. I really need to take some time to mess with StreamYard more, so I am more adept at doing certain things, which I'm not all that adept at. Let's see. No, can't see that shit. Okay. Like something as simple as just playing music. Yeah, just playing music just to, set the mood and stuff. I can play a video file, but I can't really play music that easily. Dale's here. What's up, man? Drinking one of my Seagram's Escapes. I've been trying to get through these things. They taste good, but they're not. They don't do the job. I don't feel like I get very drunk on them, and they do taste very sweet and stuff. So I'm just trying to get through these so I can move on to my staples like Miller Lite. You know what I did have, and this isn't an alcohol show unless you want it to be. What I did try for the first time last week was the Bud Light seltzers, which I found to be surprisingly good. This is called Jamaican Me Happy. Ironic, maybe to some. I don't. You can't see that. Jamaican Me Happy. So I'm curious, guys. If I do this, tell me if you hear this. Probably do. Can you hear that? Can we get any more dramatic? I don't think so. Okay, you hear it. All right. So now we can just make it a music bed, right? There's nothing all that dramatic going on, but I like the music anyways. I like dramatic music, even in non-dramatic situations. Maybe that's just me. Let's see. Oh, there's a minute to go on this, so I guess we'll stop it. Okay. Drama over. So how's everybody doing? Behind me, you see my my newly acquired used Ninebot Z10. I got that from Mike Higgs, who lives in Arizona. Some of you may also know him as Senior Coffee. I kind of mispronounced it before. For some reason, my old brain, when he told me what his handle was, I was thinking Senor, as in a Mexican tinge, but it's actually Senior Coffee. And he gave me the origin of that story. I guess it had to do with when he first qualified for senior rates on coffee. Which happens with some people like 55. It depends. I guess I don't qualify yet. I've never been offered senior coffee yet at Dunkin' Donuts. And I don't think I've ever heard of such a program at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't think they necessarily give discounts to seniors, but I could be mistaken. I don't know. Okay. All right. So who we got here? Let me slide up here. I mentioned that Dale's here, electric unicycle, E. Simon. So I assume that you're happy with my rain test I did, right? I hope so. I did that for you, buddy. And the good news is the week after, it's the V12 seems totally fine. So I'm quite glad. David Mitchell from Scotland, man. Anyone from like UK and Scotland that's watching now, you're a trooper, man. Because I know it's late out there. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. E. Simon, we just had an earthquake here. Whole building shook. Serious? Like major or just a little tremor or wow? Because you're in Australia, right? I never recall hearing a. Oh yeah, okay. So Dale felt it too. I never knew that Australia was a place that even had earthquakes. So maybe that's just my ignorance. Wow, it's kind of crazy, guys. Hate mail's from Australia as well. Did you feel the earthquake? Hate mail? Maybe. If everybody in Australia felt it, it was a pretty strong earthquake, I would imagine. Leo's here from Brazil. Real talk, Duff, do you have hair plugs? What? What would make you say that? What? If I had hair plugs, I probably wouldn't have my hair this short, would I? I don't know. No, I don't. I mean, I guess most people that are on YouTube are vain. They're vain to some degree, but I'm not vain enough to get hair plugs. If my hair was receding, I would just shave it, just keep it, buzzed all the time. I'm not that into my hair anymore. I used to be really into my hair when I was a youngster. My hair was everything, man. Yeah, it had to be perfectly feathered. And I think I told this story before. And I had a brush in my back pocket at all times. And yeah, I was really about the hair back then, but not anymore. I'm older and wiser, depending on who you ask. Dan's here, Dan Kobar. Try White Claw seltzer. I've had White Claw. I think I've had tangerine. Yeah, I've had White Claw. It's okay. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's better than the Truly seltzers. We've had some Truly seltzers, and they're okay. I mean, they get you drunk, so I like those. But the Bud Light seltzer is pretty good. So once I get through these 2 sweet Seagrams with not that much alcohol content, maybe I'll move on to something else. And I do still have like 2 or 3 Zimas left. I don't know if I ever told my Zima story my Zima stories on stream, but I was a hardcore Zima drinker back in the day, and when it was reintroduced, they had it 2 summers in a row. I think the last time was 2 years ago. I went out and bought like 3 cases of Zima. I like hoarded it, although there's people that hoarded much more than I did. But yeah, I'm a big Zima fan, and people make fun of me for it, and I don't care. Okay, so Dale says they are exciting. Okay, so I guess earthquakes are a semi-regular occurrence in Australia. Okay, I just never knew that, I guess. Leo says that we need to try Caipirinhas, whatever that is. I assume that's some sort of alcohol. Oh, wow, Marty's here. Wow, Marty, it's early for you. I thought you'd be out like riding a mountain or something. I know in full moon, you like to, ride in the full moonlight. Or maybe you're just, you're feeling remorse seeing my my Z10 back here, which you no longer have, and I do. So good for me, right? Right away insulting my alcohol. Marty says, Miller Lite, isn't that a form of piss water? IPAs are much better. All right. Well, as soon as I see you drinking on stream, Marty, I'll take your opinion more seriously. But I've never seen an alcoholic beverage touch your lips. So, I mean, I'm sure you do once in a while, and I drink IPAs. I just don't prefer them. The closest thing to piss water is probably Coors Light. That's probably okay. Miller Lite isn't. I don't know. It gets the job done. A little bit less calories. Health conscious, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Got a good amount of people here, just considering I just announced this stream today. Oh, Dale, you're already starting with EVX. Want more dramatic? Watch EVX, man. No comment. No comment. Joe's here. Hey, man. How do you like my Z10? I like it. Now, all I've done so far with it is I took it out of the box. I turned it on. It balanced. I shot a brief Instagram video of the pulsating lights in the bottom, and I charged it a little bit. Mike sent it to me. Mike has an electrical background. Like he's done electrical stuff for his job for a long time. He actually rigged up his own fast charger for the Z10. He took 2 conventional Z10 chargers and zip tied them together, and then tied the plugs together, have them running in parallel. So I could technically charge this thing at 4 amps instead of 2 amps. When I was charging it earlier, I was charging it at 2 amps just because, I don't know, I've always been a little gun shy about fast charging. But yeah, I do have the ability to charge this at 4 amps, thanks to Mike. Mike also did a couple other mods to it. You can't really see it that well because I have the lights kind of low because I'm old. But he took if you guys remember the stock mudguard for the Z10, like extended like halfway down the wheel. He took and trimmed it back to more of a conventional size. I think that looks a lot better. And also, I didn't realize this when I got the demo wheel from eWheels. It was like this, you know, but I didn't realize that the production wheels actually shipped with a set of rubber pads that I'm not 100% sure how they get affixed to the wheel. But I never knew that they came with these. Now, Mike said he never put them on because it's just sort of cheap double-sided tape. He was assuming that they would probably fall off. I'm gonna try to put them on and see how sticky they feel. And I always have the option of using like some high-quality Velcro if I do like them. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'll like it or not, but that is cool. There's a pad for the top, and then there's a pad that goes on the bottom as well. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know that I ever saw a Z10 with these on. Maybe I just wasn't looking close enough. I don't know. I do not know, but I am definitely looking forward to getting out on it. Brett Holtzman, the last time I saw you live, you were half dead, sprawled out on a hotel bed. No, I just looked that way. That was after drinking quite a bit. Yeah, so I mentioned in the title of this stream, this is a stream of firsts in several ways. This is my first stream with the new Z10. This is the first stream since I sold my S18, and the first stream since I sold my one-wheel pint as well, both of which were sold to Jeremiah, my neighbor that lives down the street that way. And of course, also the first stream since Cindy and I split up as well. So yeah, it's things are different around here nowadays, as you can imagine. But we're trying to muddle our way through it. That's all you can do, right? Just keep going. Hola, amigo. Hi, Bill. What's up, man? Steve-O. What's up, dude? E. Simon, like my rain test I did in the V12. Not only was the rain test great, but man, what do you guys think about the range? I don't think Marty ever commented about that, because that was one of the primary reasons that I did that, actually, because Marty was complaining that I like to see what it does at lower battery, because the V11 behavior at low battery was shitty. So yeah, Marty, I don't think that we've talked at all about the V12. If you turn off the low battery safety mode, how I was rolling 15, 16 miles an hour at 8% battery with no tilt back and no beeping. I thought that was kind of crazy and unexpected. The earthquake in Australia, 6 on the Richter scale. That's kind of serious, right? It's not an 8, but that's enough to do some damage for sure. Joe says that's Marty with the plugs. Marty, I'm sure you don't have hair plugs, right? I mean, I know your hair, Marty's hair. I mean, when I was younger, my hair wasn't as long as Marty's, but Marty has some care about his hair still, where obviously I do not. I don't think Marty has plugs. Maybe he might have hair extensions. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't think he'd admit it if he did. Oh, Steve-O, another Zima fan. Cool, man. Yeah, there's something about it. I had a lot of good drunken times on Zima. Maybe maybe that it's just nostalgia that attracts me the most to it. But it does have a high alcohol content. So, because that's usually a requirement for whatever I'm drinking. I'd like it to have at least 5% alcohol content. Then things get rolling. This only has, I think, like 2.9% or something, 3.2%. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't do the trick for me. Optimus Prime, what's up, buddy? And of course, the Z10 is a 3-year-old wheel, so there's not all that much to talk about with the Z10. It'll be more interesting when I ride it and get reacclimated to it. But of course, we can talk about all the other fun stuff going on. Commander talk, the Abrams, the Hero, the S20. There's lots of stuff that we can potentially talk about if you would like to. Steve-O, did they sell Zima this summer? No, they haven't sold Zima the last 2 summers, unfortunately. Which seems crazy because I saw nothing. I'm part of a Zima group on Facebook, and Zima enthusiasts like myself. And when they were selling Zima over the summers, these people, I mean, all it was posts of people just like loading up their car with cases of Zima. and Coors it's a Coors product. And when they decided to not do it the following summer, Coors said, I guess the sales were not enough to justify doing it again, which I was really shocked by, and a lot of people were kind of pissed off about it. But what can you do? Life goes on. All right, here's Leo's definition of what this is. Caparina, vodka, crushed ice, sugar, and lemons. I've had very little vodka in my life. Speaking of Zima, one time I was at my buddy's house, and he thought, hey, man, what if we take some vodka and we add it to the Zima? And I said, oh, yeah, sure. Why not? Drank it like I would drink a normal Zima. I hardly tasted the vodka. But once that hit me, I was in trouble. I felt nauseous to the point of almost wanting to throw up, and I just had to kind of just sit there quietly and wait for it to pass when my second wife drove me home. That was I didn't like mixing vodka with Zima. It was a little scary. Optimus, are you going to put jump pads in your Z10? I don't know why I would. I still have the pads from Shane. I bought the second set of Shane pads that I haven't put on anything yet, and I still have Clark pads as well that I have not put on anything. So I have two different sets of pads that I could potentially put on it. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna commit one way or the other, but maybe. I do have pads available if I want to put them on there. So Marty's okay. We're back to Marty's alcohol taste. Old style beer when I was a kid in the Midwest. Awful. Define an old style beer. From where I'm from in southeastern Pennsylvania, one of our old style beers was called Schlitz. I think it was just a regional beer. I don't know. Anyone else ever hear of Schlitz? We drank a lot of Schlitz. Joe says the Z10 is looking awesome. Yeah, it really does, man. Just visually. I mean, when I took it out of the box and turned it on, I'm just like, damn, this thing is 3 years old, and I still think it might be the coolest wheel that I've seen in person. I don't know. There's something about it that is just cool. The massive tire, it just gives an appearance unlike anything else. So, yeah, I'm quite happy and quite looking forward to getting out there on it. If it ever stops raining. It's been nothing but a rain fest here. Like the past week, it seems like every day we're just getting hammered with rain. I've had standing water on the property for 4 days, and it keeps dumping and dumping and dumping on top of it. Again, today it rained hard, like almost all afternoon. I think it's still probably raining right now, lightly. I went out there for the chickens. The poor chickens are miserable. Yeah, I built some extra perches in their run so they can get out of the freaking wet ground. Because I'm walking back there, and there's certain areas where the water is up over my ankles. Certain areas of the yard. So it just sucks. I hate this part of living in Florida. I hate when the property gets soaked like this. And I hate it even more because now my routine obviously has changed, and part of that new routine is now I get up about 20 minutes earlier than I used to, and I go out to the chickens at 5:45 in the morning, and I'm cleaning the chicken coop at 5:45 in the morning. Pitch dark outside. I installed, and this is a lot of good EUC talk, right? I installed 2 bright LEDs over the doors of the coop, motion activated. So I go out there and it lights up the yard, and I'm hosing chicken crap off the mats, and I have to take the chickens out of their perch because chickens don't like to do anything when it's dark, and I just literally carry them to the run where I have another auxiliary light in the run, and they just kind of stand there awkwardly while I clean their mess. So yeah, life's a lot of fun right now. JNL, you need a good pint of Guinness or Newcastle Brown Ale from Northeast New England. Another guy from the UK. Cool, man. I was actually over in Ireland years ago, and I did have some Guinness. I think I had one Guinness in Ireland, so I guess it's real Guinness, right? Because that's where it's made. I had to warm up with other beer first, because once I have a few alcoholic beverages, it numbs me to bitter, bad tasting beer, which is what I would call Guinness. And I drank the whole thing, but yeah, it's not for me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I started drinking later in life. I didn't start drinking till I was 24. Thanks to my first wife. She drove me to drinking. But that's a story for another day. Clint Kennedy. Hey, Duff, thanks for your V12 vids. Eagerly awaiting my pre-order. Also love the 3D printed V10 stand. Great. Hope you get your V12 soon, man. I'm really enjoying the V12. I said at the end of the last video I made, I think, without a doubt, the best 16-inch wheel that I have ever owned. Without a doubt. I love the way that thing rides. And I do plan to drop the pedals, because the pedals come, at least they came from e-wheels, at the highest position. And I've heard multiple reports of people that when you drop it down to there's 3 positions on it. When you drop it down to the lowest position, it feels even more stable, more planted. And it feels pretty planted to me at speed anyway. So, but I am going to do that, because with the kind of riding I do, I would probably be fine with the pedals lower. So it's not like I'm off-roading on a regular basis. Marty never put the pads on your Z. Oh, you never put any pads? Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, you never put pads on. Well, yeah, you have off and on. You put pads on, but only recently have you become a larger adopter of pads. And really, the Sherman is the first wheel I've ever had that I put any pads on whatsoever. So I'm still kind of a holdout. Nice wishes from Dale. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Let's see. Remember Tango. Remember Tango. Is that a alcoholic beverage? If it is, I do not remember that, Brent. Leo, did you see the video on the Commander? Are you talking about the one that Jack did today? Yes, I did. I did see it. It's funny. I don't know if you guys noticed in the video, there was a segment where he had a picture of 3 wheels together. It was the Commander, the Hero, what was it? And an Abrams? What they did? I don't remember. He had a picture of 3 wheels together, and underneath it he had a little blurb that said, "Please do not apply filter and claim as your own Chooch Tech." Chooch, we talked about Chooch in a prior live stream. You know, some of the issues that he was having about his Reddit posts, and I don't know. He's been acting a little erratic lately, to put it mildly. And I guess he's had several situations where he's posted content that could be confused as his own without attribution. He posted some weird thing where he used construction paper on his MSX to make it look like a S20. I don't know. Yeah, Chooch has been, like I said, I would describe it as acting erratic. I get the feeling that he might be trying to do YouTube as a full-time thing, because he's been posting videos, it seems like, every day, every other day. And usually you don't do that unless you think you're going to make YouTube your full-time gig. I'm just curious how long he can go to the well, or how many times he can go to the well with what seems to be a very, very similar format content. I don't know. That's just, but hey, if it works for him, great. I guess. I mean, he gets more views than I do, so I guess it's working for him. At least right now, it is. When you go, pads for when I go extreme in the Z10. I don't think I'll be going very extreme in the Z10. It's too pretty, man. I don't want to beat it up. Leo, bad connection quality. I think you've complained about that in the past, Leo. It's Brazil. It's probably Brazil. Steve-O remembers Schlitz. Really? Okay, so I guess it was more of a national beer. I thought it was more like a Pennsylvania thing. Dale's heading out. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Oh, wow. Even Marty remembers Schlitz? Really? Wow. Cool. All right. Well, Schlitz was more popular than I remembered. And they make Heineken around me as well. And the Heineken obviously is a national brand. Or where I used to live, I should say. It's my login name. Okay, I don't think I've seen you in a live stream before, bud. Z10 was the first wheel I wanted because it looked so cool. Finally pulled the trigger after years of hesitancy this summer on my first wheel. A V11. Okay, good. Well, I have a V11 as well. I might have to look at getting a Z10 again now. It's funny. Several people pointed out to me in the comments that there are actually, I don't know if there are still any left, because it said that there's only 3 left when I looked earlier. When was that, Monday or over the weekend? That on Amazon, if you look up Ninebot Z10, that there were actually some available that were at least being pitched as new wheels for like $1,600. Let me just see if they're still there. $1,699 maybe. It wasn't being sold by Ninebot. It was what we got here. Oh, there. Oh no, okay, there you go. $1,600. Yeah, let's see. I can probably share this, right? Share that. Share. Yeah, see that? The Ninebot 1 Z10, 1,800 watt hours, being sold by, who's the company? The brand ANS. So I'm just wondering if it's like new old stock, like someone they bought up a bunch of Z10s that were never sold. If that's the case, I would be very concerned that those batteries are dead as a doornail because of some of the issues that they had with the Z10 with batteries dying over time. Oh yeah, wait, no, I'm not buying a Nito robot vacuum. Sorry about that. Close my cart. Oh shit. All right. Yeah, but I mean, I guess you could get a warranty if you bought it from Amazon. Like if it was dead. Ships from and sold by Flash e-commerce. That is the name of the operation selling that. That wouldn't give me the warm and fuzzies. But technically, you can buy a new Z10 on Amazon, evidently. Interesting, huh? But to be quite honest, like for what that costs, and then buying one used from someone that I trust, that I know it hasn't been abused, I kind of like my situation better. That we know everything works, and I feel better buying from Mike than buying from Flash e-commerce. Joe used to drink Ham's beer. Never heard of it. Remember, there was a very brief period in my childhood where I collected beer cans, which I think many children do or did, probably not anymore. But yeah, I had a rather small beer can collection. Don't know why, but I guess because my friends did. But never heard of Ham's beer. That was my point. Marty says, I put pads on all my wheels now. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, you're a changed man. And spiked pedals, yes. Well, you've been getting the spiked pedals from Chris, right? Chris Chaput. Is that how you say his name? Chaput? Kaput? Yeah, they seem great. They seem similar to the ones that I've gotten from Merlin Fish in their design. I don't know if visually they look similar. So, and I have spiked pedals on my Sherman and the V11, and I like them. Definitely like them. Cynthia's here. Hey, what's up? Oh, Cynthia, are you a member now? I see. I haven't looked at the members lately. I guess I should, right? Because I know that Rocky Top joined. I don't monitor this as closely as I should, but Cynthia has the special icon that you get when you're a member. So I believe she probably is. And if you are, you're already awesome, but that makes you even more awesome. Let's see, memberships. What do we got? Yes, Cynthia has been a member for 3 days. Thank you, Cynthia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm up to 7 members on my channel. Wow. There you go. And people said I couldn't live the dream. I'm living the dream. Much appreciated. And Mike, actually, ironically, Senior Coffee is a member as well now. Funny. Oh, so anyway, so Cynthia said, we used to hike 30 miles uphill both ways in 15 feet of snow to buy some PBR. Yeah, didn't we all? Yeah, I remember the Pabst Blue Ribbon empty beer can was kind of, I don't know, I kind of like that. And then there was like different value, like if one was a standard size can or if you had a tall can. And sometimes some beer manufacturers would sell small cans. And it's funny how I thought that was interesting at the time. I don't think it's interesting anymore. I have no desire to collect beer cans. Over my life, I've had these kicks where I collect odd things. Beer cans being one of them. Baseball cards, where lots of kids collected baseball cards. I don't know anymore if anyone gives a shit about baseball cards, but I used to. I used to just buy them like a couple packs at a time at the local grocery store in the small town that I lived in. I was on a kick where I was collecting casino chips. I have them. You can't see them. They're off camera. They're in a display up there. That was a kick that lasted maybe, a year. I collected yo-yos briefly. I was on a yo-yo kick. So yeah, I get on these kicks sometimes. And I've been collecting EUCs for the last, however many years, 5 years, something like that. E. Simon. Wow. Well, I guess that's an Australian thing, right? You started drinking at 9 years old. Wow. Yep. 24 for me. I thought I was being, I don't know, special, or I don't know if that's the right word. Virtuous, maybe. I don't know. Growing up, I had some issues with what I saw alcohol did to some people, and I think that kind of fueled me to not want to drink. And then once I did start to drink, I'm like, oh damn, I wasted 6 years. Oh wait, no, 21. That's right. I'm sorry. 21 is legal drinking age, but yeah. C.S. Rodney, nice to see you got the Z10. Can't wait to see your contents on it. Have you ever tried Carib and stage beer from Trinidad and Tobago? No. And it's probably unlikely that I ever will, but I'm sure it's good. The Z10, I forgot I wanted to mention this, like my feelings about the Z10. I remember when I first saw the sizzle reel on the Z10 that Ninebot put out, and I'm pretty sure that I saw that when Cindy and I were doing our last significant road trip northeast. We went northeast over a summer. I think it's 4 years in that. It might be 4 years. Probably timeline that would work out. 4 years ago, we were doing the northeast road trip. I had the 67 volt M Super and my Gen 1 Monster, where those are the two wheels we brought, and we drove from Florida up to Maine, and with various stops along the way. But during that trip, I saw that video of the Z10, and I'm like, what is that? I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was the coolest shit ever. And it's funny, and like I said, I still think it's cool, but it's funny the way it worked out that, I got that demo wheel from eWheels, and by that time I was considering also the KingSong 18L, and I wound up getting the KingSong instead of the Z10, and I got to test both of those wheels, and in retrospect, I think it was partly because I always had talked about the advantages of KingSong build quality and never had one. And I thought to myself, well, I have a Ninebot 1E Plus. And so that was part of my thinking at the time, that I wanted to get a KingSong wheel, and I passed on the Z10. So I'm glad that I finally have righted that wrong. And I expect the Z10 will be with me for a long time to come. That's my prediction now. You heard it here. What is today? 9/21. Isn't today the last day of summer? Right? Is it? Okay. Let me look. I think it is. I have a calendar here. I was still in August. As you can tell, I'm falling behind with my things. Yes. 9/22. Autumn begins. So here we are. Last day of summer. Now, unfortunately, when you live in Southwest Florida, summer never ends, or feels that way. Summer is like 6 months long. So luckily, if we're lucky, we'll get sort of coolish air sometime, maybe mid-October, if we're lucky, but nothing. It's still going to be hot. It does not get cool here for a long time. Leo saw the Chooch blur. Yes, that was kind of funny. I don't know if Chooch saw it. Marty, I'm really over his half motorcycle video towels. Yeah, that is annoying for me. I have to admit that is annoying for me. But maybe it's because I'm old. I'm surprised that it's not annoying to more people, because yeah, it's kind of funny, haha, once, twice, 3, 16 times. But for every video to follow the same formula, I don't know. I don't think that's a recipe for long-term success. But he keeps doing it. CS Rodney says there's a lot of new Z10s. Huh. Yeah, I mean, that's the only explanation I can come up with, is that Ninebot had a bunch of them somewhere unsold, and they got released. But I would be really surprised if they don't have battery issues. If they are really new old stock, haven't been charged, just sitting in a box, that I would not feel real good about that. We are referring to Chooch titles: half e-bike, motorcycle, stunt race, track, unicorn, jet, airplane. Yeah, that might be next. Who knows? I've seen a million variations, and each one kind of makes me shake my head. Cynthia, no skill zombie rider. Yes, you and Senior Coffee are my 2 newest channel members, and thank you. Dude lost his mind on titles. I don't know. There's something going on there. I don't know if his head, like his ego has taken over, but it seems like he's not making a lot of solid decisions. But again, I've said this previously, Chooch is a young guy, and when I was his age, I made a lot of bad decisions, a lot. So I guess you got to let him make them. And if it's not harming other people, okay, good, whatever. More awesomer, yes. It seems like a lot of people have similar thoughts about the Chooch video decisions. Optimus says, I found the Z10 never ran out of fashion with its great looks and range. If I buy Z10, that will be my point of choice. Yeah. I mean, it can easily do the my 10-mile Dunkin' Donuts ride back and forth. That's all I need, really. I mean, I wouldn't take it to Ave Maria, but yeah, a 20, 25-mile ride. Yeah, no problem. Do it at a good speed. Keep it in the 20s. Sounds great. It's going to be interesting how it feels, because I remember when I did ride the Z10 for the first time 3 years ago, whatever it was, feeling how different it felt, and how it reminded me of almost like the Monster, how I had to kind of relearn to ride because of the physics of this. Is a tubeless tire, very tall and stiff sidewall. But one of the mistakes I made when I got that Z10, because I think that Z10 came from Chris Yim. I got it after Chris Yim, if I remember correctly, was I never screwed with the tire pressure. And because I did have issues at speed with wobbling. And actually the Z10 was the wheel that got me starting to ride at lower pressures with higher speed wheels. After I didn't change the pressure on the Z10, all subsequent wheels, I always dropped my pressure to 30 or high 20, something like that. Which I wouldn't advise if you're someone that's jumping curbs, or always, steps, or doing a lot of things that could cause impact to the EUC. You could be opening yourself up to bent rims. I very rarely put myself in that situation, so I feel fine doing that. But I definitely want to see what the tire pressure is in this, and I'm going to keep it in the upper 20s probably, just for maximum comfort, maximum stability for me with the way I ride. Because the way I ride, guys, my legs I have such bowed legs that I typically do not. I have to consciously bend my knees in if I want to have contact with the shell when I'm riding, and that's what causes a lot of the wobbling you'll see when I ride. I've done it for so long, I'm used to it. It doesn't freak me out or anything, but having a lower tire pressure definitely helps that situation for me. Some people can't stand running lower pressure, so different strokes for different folks. Joe has yo-yos. I gave mine away. Oh, another thing that I collected at a period of time, Hot Wheels cars. At my work, I still have probably 30 of them, maybe. But I've probably taken 30 of them, brought them home, and I've given them to DJ because DJ loves cars and trucks, and so I've been slowly giving them to him. He'll get more enjoyment out of them. For the most part, they were just sitting on top of a cabinet in my office collecting dust. So yeah, I'm getting more practical with that kind of stuff. Okay, so Marty, okay, we're talking about the spiked pedals, and Chris's are superior to what Merlin's. Have you ever seen Merlin's pedals? I don't know if you remember when I did the install of Merlin's pedals on my Sherman. They don't come with grip tape, but I put grip tape on them, and remember that satisfying pop sound as I popped each spike through the grip tape. Remember that? I mean, since you're into ASMR, Marty, I thought you would really like that video. So I do have grip tape on them, but yeah, they do not come with it. So if Chris's do already, that's nice. That's a good feature. I don't know what he charges, what Chris charges, if it's similar to what Merlin charges. Chet, now come on, Chet. Now you want me to give you a straight answer on that? What is the best wheel for the money? There's so many variables there, dude. What's important to you? What's your skill level? What's your riding environment? There's so many variables with that. You know, if you're just getting into it, I would. The V12 is kind of awesome, but a go-to answer, like if you're new to the hobby, is something like a V8, very dependable, average speed and power, good wheel to learn on. Some people don't like the idea of getting a wheel, mastering, or not mastering, but at least getting the basic skills of riding down, and then having to spend money because they decide they want a higher power wheel. So some people will go crazy and spend $3,000 on a wheel. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I have seen a number of posts on Facebook and they all seem to follow the same format. Hey, I just bought this Sherman, selling it with very low mileage because I gave up, basically, or they had some sort of issue, or they crashed. So I don't know if I'm just the only one that noticed that, but I have seen that happening where people are buying expensive, heavy wheels as their first wheel, and giving up early and wanting to exit the hobby. So that is always the danger, I think, with going too big, too fast, too soon, and too heavy. Did I write it already? No. If you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Duff67. You'll see that the weather when I got home, it was raining, and it's still raining. It was very wet. So no, I did not. I was pissed. I got this from UPS. If you guys have seen my channel, you know what the front of my house looks like. I have a front door, and I have a small covered area in front of the front door. When the guy delivered the thing, he delivered it at 2 p.m. It was already raining. Instead of putting it by the front door, he put it by the garage door, which was moronic. Now, luckily, it appears that the way the wind was blowing, it was blowing from the north to the south, so the wind wasn't pushing the rain into the box, so the box didn't get absolutely destroyed and soaked. And luckily, Mike put a lot of tape on it as well. So, the box is okay. It's not destroyed, but I mean, that was just such a stupid thing for the UPS guy to do. I mean, I don't know if he just didn't give a shit, or because the box was heavy, he didn't want to carry it to the front door, but come on. And a lot of drinking talk, huh? That's what happens when your relationship status changes, right? You drink. That's what they say. I'm not drinking that much, but some. I haven't started the hardcore drugs yet, so that's good. E. Simon drinking every day by 14 years old. Wow. So you were a full-blown alcoholic, it sounds like, huh? Wow. All right. Well, that's good that you were able to go back to moderation, because that's when you're drinking that heavily, it's a rare thing to have someone that can then go to moderate drinking. Usually it's like all or nothing. Like they have to be stone cold sober, or they fall back into their old pattern. So it sounds like you're an exception to the rule there, and congrats. Yeah, I'm not. If I drink, like four beers is a lot for me. And since I don't drink that often, it usually will affect me more than it will a seasoned drinker. Cynthia is explaining why Chooch does that. Yes, I have heard that explanation as well. I still think it's kind of dumb, but whatever. Like I said, if it's working for him, Cynthia says it doesn't bother you. That's good. Well, that's because I'm sure you're a sweetheart, Cynthia. Maybe I'm just old and grumpy. Probably am. I agree with Marty. It's an EUC. Why call it differently? Well, it certainly is a free country, and he can certainly do that. Sounds like Cynthia is in the Chooch camp. Not ego. He has a reason. Well, yeah. No. I don't think that he names it because of an ego thing. No, if that's the connection that you got out of that. No, that's not what I'm saying. Dylan Thomas. Why do I know that name? Maybe I know the face. That name sounds a little bit familiar. Mono wheels, yeah. Mono wheels, electric wheels. I remember there was a discussion in a group of UC YouTubers where Kuji said how he likes to refer to them as electric wheels as opposed to an EUC. Whatever, man. Whatever. So you came in late. Where did you buy this wheel at? I bought this. I saw it in Facebook. Mike Higgs was selling this. I think I responded to him. I think he might have posted it like late at night or something. So I felt fortunate. I responded a couple hours after the post was made, and I bought it. I bought it from him. I had always I remember when Marty sold his Z10. I didn't know he was selling it, because if I did, I probably would have bought it from him. And after the fact, when I saw that he sold it, I was like, oh man, dude, I would have bought that. And he had no idea that I was, sort of interested in it as well. But for a while, I have had it in the back of my mind. If I could get a decent deal on a Z10, then I would like to do it. So with me just selling the S18 and the one wheel pint, and I'm going to be trying to sell the Dualtron as well. I can do these things and still set aside money for my S20 purchase that will be coming whenever. Who knows when the hell that'll happen, but it's coming sometime. So yeah, my wheel inventory, or my PEV inventory in general, is going to be going down. The Mini Pro, I'm going to be, Cindy's device, so I'll be giving Cindy the Mini Pro. I have Katie's V5F in there. Originally, I was going to keep it and screw around with it, but I'm going to give that back to her, the one that I replaced the battery on. So I'm trying to keep my fleet a little bit more manageable. Still have the Backfire Ranger X1, even though I haven't ridden that in a while. Going to hold on to that. Maybe I can find some time to ride that. I know Cindy really likes that, so that's part of the reason that I would kind of like to hold on to that as well. So we'll see. Sliders Gliders, the Z10, he listed it for $900 on Facebook. So I was fine with that. E. Simon, Z10 battery needs regular topping up. It will drain itself. Yes, I'm aware of that. That's why I said that if those wheels that are being sold on Amazon or eBay have just been sitting in the box, I can't imagine that those batteries are not totally discharged. I know about the phantom drain issue with the Z10s. So they definitely have to be looked after. And it's funny, when we mentioned the phantom drain issue, when Jeremiah came over, and I don't know, I didn't talk in depth about this on the video. I just said that he bought them. When he came over to ride the S18, I thought that I had charged that before recently, like after my last ride. But then when he brought it back, he I saw him approaching the house, and he had like extreme tilt back, and he actually just got off the wheel and like carried it into the driveway, and the battery was totally dead. The the S18 has that. I don't know if it's all KingSongs, because I think the 16X did the same thing. But basically, when it's done charging, if you unplug the charger and do nothing else, the wheel will still be on and still drawing power at a small amount. But when it's drawing small power over days or weeks or whatever, it discharges the battery. And I think that's what happened in that situation. And it's an annoying thing. I don't know if anyone else there has an S18 and they can verify that it happens to them as well. But I'm almost sure that's what happened in that situation. And the way that you have to fix that is after you're done, when it reaches full charge state, you cycle power on the wheel, turn it on, turn it off, and then it is actually off. And then it will not be draining power. So yeah, it's annoying. You would think it's something that would be easily fixable. Rogue one-wheel drive. That's another new person. Welcome. Aside from the Z10, which modern wheel has the most potential to become a retro classic? Well, I think the Ninebot 1 series is a classic. I still have my Ninebot 1 E+. I think that's kind of a classic wheel. Trying to think what other wheels. I think the KingSong 18S is kind of a very unique, one-of-a-kind wheel. Those of you that don't remember what they look like, they're extremely tall wheels. Almost look like you're sitting on a suitcase. That's a wheel that's never really been duplicated as far as its look goes. I think that's kind of a classic. That's another wheel that actually, if I could find cheap enough, I wouldn't mind having one of those either, to be quite honest with you. But newer wheels, I don't know if someone else has a suggestion out there, but nothing else is really sticking out as a classic. I mean, the suspension wheels are unique, but I don't know. I wouldn't describe them as something classic, but maybe time will change that. I don't know. Marty, for me, the Z10 was not viable for group rides and was horrible for trail ride. I've only had, that much of this weak Seagram, so I'm not drunk. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired. Was not viable for group rides and was horrible for trail riding. Two things I love to do. Yeah, no, I totally understand it. I remember very clearly when you had the Z10 and you took it to Northern California, the Bay Area, I think, and you were going. Was it you or maybe the person that got the Z10 after you? I don't remember. You'll tell me. They were riding down a steep hill. I think you said this too, though, going down a trail, and you felt like you could not stop. You were you did not have a confident feeling that you were able to stop. I remember that was one of your complaints about the Z10. Luckily, I live in a very flat area, so I don't think I'll have that problem. The Z10 has that assisted braking setting too, which I think just basically means that, if I remember correctly, the assisted braking actually tips you as you're braking. That's another thing that I don't know of any other wheels before or since that do that actually physically tip you back to assist with the braking. And that is, you can turn that on and off. And I'll go over all these features again, even though it's a 3-year-old wheel. I'll talk about them. Why not? Chet, do you still ride the Mini Pro? I think I just answered that. That's always been Cindy's. When I first started, Cindy and I both had a Mini Pro, and that was our introduction to PEVs, and we rode them together all over the place. I since gave mine to Katie's half brother, I did. I gave mine to Katie's half brother, half sister. And but Cindy has had hers all the time. I've done the SwallowBot upgrade to that Mini Pro, which gives it more top speed, and I also put the bigger tires on it to give it more clearance and potentially even slightly more speed. But that's one of Cindy's favorite things to ride, the Mini Pro. So she rides that. I do not. E. Simon Retro Classic MSP 84 volt. Well, my MSX. I mean, I look at my original MSX. No, I'm sorry, it's on MSX. It's an M Super V3. MSX is the 100 volt variation. My M Super V3 was kind of classic to me. I love the look of that wheel, and at the time it was really special. And Gotway's done so many iterations in that basic style over the years. I think the M Super design is pretty classic as well. Even though there's a lot of people that are really sick of it, I always have liked it. All right, Marty's talking about Merlin's plates. Merlin's plates are not 1/8-inch thick. Chris sells them for $100. I'm not sure how thick Merlin's plates are, and I'm not sure. I think Merlin sells them for a little less than that, but if they're less material, I guess that would be understandable. And if Marty says Chris's foot plates are good, I believe Chris's foot plates are good. But I know in my experience, Merlin's plates have been good too. Chet says, I'm going to shoot for the V12. I don't want to have to upgrade. Well, you definitely won't have to upgrade anytime soon with the V12. The top speed in the 40s. If you're a techie like me, I love all the tech in the V12. There's so many things about the V12 I like or love. I love all the tech. Some people have been complaining about that sound wave sound when you're riding. I like it. I heard that with the latest firmware version, they changed the sound and the new sound is not good. I haven't heard it. I don't have any plans to change it for that reason. I think it's cool that you can change the height of the pedals. I think it's cool that it has a pretty substantial hard rubber bumper on the front and the back. So if you dump it, it would protect the lights. Hopefully protect the screen. The screen is super cool, full color. Although in bright sunlight, it is rather hard to see. The power plant itself, I mean, for a 16-inch wheel to be able to maintain that speed, the range has been really good. Multiple people asked me after I did the low battery test, because I went across 3 rides to get to that state, including the first ride, which was out to Ave Maria and back at high speeds. And I rode 35 miles, averaging right around 25 miles for the first part of that battery drain. And then I went to Dunkin' Donuts twice, the nearby Dunkin' Donuts twice. And when I added up the mileage of those 3 rides, it came out to right around 50 miles, probably a little less, but upper 40s for sure, close to 50 for those 3 rides. Keeping in mind that the first 35 miles were done at 25 miles an hour. And I was riding around at 15 miles an hour at 8%. So I think it's pretty realistic that you can get 50 miles out of the V12, even riding more than 15, 16 miles an hour or whatever. So V12 is really a nice wheel. It has great lights. I'm not that thrilled about the LED lights on the V12, the additional ones like on the side and on the front, because they although you can change the patterns on them, they're not bright and there's no control for the brightness. So unless it's almost dark out, you really cannot see them. They kind of get washed out very easily. So I wish that was a little different, but for the most part, I had nothing but good stuff to say about the V12. I really like it. The only thing that would make it a perfect wheel would be if it was had suspension. But if it had suspension, then it would probably be a more complex, more of an annoying wheel to work on. I don't know if you guys saw Inmotion posted a teardown of the V12, and at least to change the tire or tube, it is definitely manageable, definitely easier than that task on an S18 or a V11. So it might not have suspension, but the trade-off is it also is easier to work on, I believe, in my opinion, from what I saw. Joe reiterating, a big wheel like the Sherman too heavy for a beginner. Yeah, 16X would be a good wheel to start with for sure. It would. And you could pick up I see people. Well, I sold my 16X. You can get a good deal on a used 16X. 16X has great power and really good range. Has a 1554 watt hour battery, but it milks it really well. You get really good range out of the 16X. Just, well, Dale's not still here, but he just posted that he has 10,000 kilometers on his 16X, I guess. That's his primary wheel. Okay, Leo talking about renting EUCs. Michael King, not sure why you got a Z10 when you had a Sherman, but why? Well, you mustn't have heard my thoughts about the Z10 earlier, because it's cool. I've always thought the V10 or the Z10 was cool. I was in the original demo circuit when the Z10 was the first wheel that eWheels did the demo tour with, where it went around the country. It went to New York first, came down to me next. I don't remember. I think it might have went from me to Marty next. I don't remember if Chooch was in the rotation then or not, but liked it then as well. Thought it was cool, and I've always had an itch to get one if I could find a decent deal. The tire, the biggest or the widest tire on any production EUC you've ever seen, and speed wise, it's good for me. I don't, if I can cruise, in the 20s in most situations, I'm a happy camper. So yeah, it will get use. Believe me, it will not be just sitting there looking pretty. It will get use, and you guys will see that. Jeffrey Hemphill, is there a Z11 or Z12 yet? No. And last time I heard, Ninebot has basically exited the electric unicycle game. They're concentrating on scooters. They're concentrating on electric motorcycles, and what else I was going to say? They still sell the Mini Pro. I think they actually just released like an electric moped. I think Jack also did a review on that as well. So yeah, they're basically more into two-wheeled electric devices and are not that into one-wheeled electric devices anymore. And okay. So yeah, I don't know that you're going to see a Z10 or another Ninebot EUC anytime soon. And now that being said, all the things that I like about the Z10, there have been some really problematic things with the Z10. Originally eWheels was selling the Z10, and they were Ninebot Segway was so miserable to deal with as far as getting warranty coverage and parts, that Jason cut ties with him basically and said, hey, this is bullshit. I can't support the wheels, because there have been problems with the Z10s. The phantom battery drain was causing battery packs to fail. System board failures were a semi-regular occurrence, and he could not get parts to fix these things. So he was basically having to just cannibalize other wheels to get parts. So, yeah, I mean, Z10, I'm knock on wood, it's going to be a great wheel for me. But if I have to get something fixed, it's not going to be fun. But I've gone into this knowing that that's the case. So I don't have rose-colored glasses on when it comes to that. I know if there's a problem with it, it's going to be a challenge to get parts and to fix it. But hopefully, I don't have to worry about that. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Yes, my 16X after charging, I turn it on and off. Yeah. Yep, I had the same thing on my 16X. That's dumb. I don't know why KingSong can't fix that. That seems fixable. But there must be some sort of hardware reason that they can't do that. Okay, RGW, same thing. Yep. Tortomashi 096. Is a V-Motion V5F a good starter wheel? To learn. Long term, probably not. It's only a 14-inch wheel. It's very thin. That was Katie, Cindy's daughter's first wheel, the V5F. She loved it. She could do amazing things on it. So it's a good wheel. On the downside, it has a small battery. It has a 350 watt-hour battery, I believe. Well, I think there might be two options. There might be one that has a 500 watt battery, but Katie's had the 350, 380, something like that. And it's not that fast. I think top speed 15-ish. So not that fast, not that far, but definitely if you can get one cheap enough, good wheel to learn on for sure. E. Simon talking about the 18S. Yes, it was definitely designed for seated riding. Yeah. And yeah, for me, that's my biggest issue with seated riding is my legs are so long, my dimensions are so wacky that I need a taller seat to be comfortable. I can sit on shorter wheels, but I'm just uncomfortable. I'm awkward. I look like I'm sitting on the toilet, and I don't like it. I need a high seat, and I think the 18S would be good for that. Zachary says he's fighting in his head whether to get the 16X or the V12 for my first wheel, thinking the V12 might be a bit more future-proof. Well, it depends if money is how much of a consideration is money, because you can get a used 16X for a considerable amount less than a new V12. What are they selling for new now? Is it $2,300, something like that? $2,400. You can probably get a used 16X for, depending, I don't know, $1,500 or less, maybe. And again, speed is a big difference between the 16X and the V12. The 16X has a rated top speed of 31 miles an hour, V12 43 and a half or something like that. So that's a significant speed difference. That being said, I rarely feel the need to go that fast. Some people do. Some people look at 43.5 miles an hour and say, "Oh, that's too slow." Okay, but yeah, the 16X, I rode that all the time in the mid 20s. Felt very stable. It's really a good wheel. It really is. And the taller case, the case on it is a little high or higher, and that's actually good for learning. That makes it easier for you to brace your leg against it. I would say that the V12, and I never had the 16X and the V12 at the same time, but I would say the case height is pretty similar. But to me, having a taller case is easier to learn on because it's easier to brace your leg on. Like shorter wheels, like the V5F, especially the M10-3, I have a terrible time mounting that thing because I don't have anything to brace my leg on. So I wind up just kind of hopping on those. But yeah, I think a higher case is better for learning. That's just my opinion. Marty talking about the horrible braking in the Z10, yes. But the worst trail riding part is the railroading. Follows every rut in the trail. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the thing that's different about the Z10. Like when Ian, Speedy Feet Ian, reviewed the Z10, and to this day, I think he has the same opinion about it. He hated the way that it cornered. Because of the physics of this wheel, because the battery is integrated into the motor, basically, because it's so short. I remember back then, the word I used to explain the Z10 in one word was dense. It just feels very dense, low center of gravity. When you lean into it, it wants to fight you as you're leaning. It wants to keep going straight. It requires significantly more effort to turn the Z10 than a more conventional style wheel. And again, you get acclimated to it, but there is definitely a difference. If someone has never ridden a Z10 and you put them on one, they're going to be like, "What the hell is this? I can't turn it." But it gets better with time. Yeah, on the flip side, because the tire is so big, it can ride over almost anything. I did take the Z10 into the swamp. I remember when I had the Z10, it was for a condensed period of time, and the swamp was the last thing I did. And at that point, I was already beat up like crazy, so I didn't go very deep into the swamp. But yeah, that tire rolls over a lot of stuff and soft sand. A lot of wheels, they hit soft sand and they just die. The Z10 can handle that better than any other EUC that I'm aware of. RGW says the Nikola will be a classic. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Nikola is unique looking, uniquely ugly in my opinion. But yeah, it is definitely a unique wheel. The Nikola, its appearance is unique. for sure. So that you might be right there. Seen a bunch of new names here. Zach Flanders, just found your channel, just been into the sport 8 months, still in a V8F. What would you recommend for an upgrade? Again, those questions are loaded because there's so many variables. It depends on how important speed is to you, what kind of terrain you're doing, what kind of range do you need. Because there's, for me, suspension, even though the V12 doesn't have suspension is increasingly important for me just because of some of the aches and pains I've been dealing with over the last couple of years. I really appreciate the jostling that suspension saves me. When I ride the V11 or the S18 compared to the Sherman or the V12, there's definite difference on the toll on my body. So there's lots of variables there. But the good news is that there's a wheel to fit pretty much any situation. More than one. Jose, Solo Wheel Extreme also had tilt assisted braking. Okay. I did not know that. Zach loves the channel. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate anyone that takes the time out of their day to watch anything I put out there. So Joe, I've heard that commentary from a few people. The sound wave is cool in the V12, but very distracting in your videos. Yeah, some people have said that. Some people have said it's not. The last video I did turn it off, and I'll probably leave it off when shooting. And when I'm just riding on my own, I'll turn it on. I think it's definitely good around pedestrians and stuff, and bikers. It does what it's supposed to do. It lets people know that that you're around. Okay, Marty, the DC power supply subboard on my MSP died. Hoping I can get a new control board from eWheel. It's been a few days, and Jason hasn't responded to me yet. I didn't even know, to be quite honest, Marty, I didn't even know you still rode your MSP. But what did it die from? An incident, like something that could have caused it to pop, or it just died? You didn't take it up Overheat Hill or anything, did you? Jason hasn't responded to me yet. Well, yeah, with Jason, it's hit or miss. Sometimes I'll respond and it'll be instantaneous, and sometimes it can be a couple days. And he gets so many emails that and he hasn't told me this, but this is my assumption. He gets so many emails that if he doesn't respond quickly to something very quickly, an email that's here in the list is way down here in the list, and he might just miss it. So I've had multiple situations where I didn't get a quick response for whatever reason, and I sent a follow-up email, and then I get an instant response. So, but that it's hit and miss. Jeffrey Hemphill, could one wheel branch out into electric unicycle design, not a skateboard design like they have been? I don't think they have any interest in doing it. Future Motion. I am curious what they're coming up with next. I've seen now a bunch of homegrown or third-party suspension tweaks for one wheels. It never interested me enough that I looked at it in depth. I don't know if it's a significantly more enjoyable experience riding a one wheel with one of those suspension mods. But if they're gonna do something new, I would assume it might be along those lines. I don't know. There's so much third-party tweaking now for one wheels because Future Motion has been so stagnant in improving those wheels or those devices. They haven't really made any significant improvements in years on the one wheel. So the community and third parties have been doing it for them. So I would think at some point they're going to actually release some updated designs. Who knows? Yeah, I'm gonna get another drink. Let me do this. Just listen to some cinematic music for a second because it's really cool. Get pumped up. Okay, is everybody pumped up? I sure am. All right, that was great. So just to give you an idea of the volume of alcohol I drink, some of you might remember like a prior live stream was around 4th of July, I think, because they have this special Miller Lite 4th of July beer. Well, I still have several of these left. So yeah, I'm not drinking alcohol at a also known as piss water, according to Marty. I'm not drinking these at a torrid pace, but I do drink them on occasion. And it is very rare for me to drink on a Tuesday night. It is Tuesday, right? Yeah, it is. But a live stream's a special occasion, so. And you have to stay hydrated, right? So here you go. Okay. What do we got here? I'm sure I'm way behind in comments, but you know, that's the way it goes. Jose, I assume you're talking about the one wheel has the best algorithm for taking off. It would also tilt and braking looked good, but really small battery. I'm not sure you're talking about the one wheel or something else, Jose. Marty says, you need to do a tire change in the V12 so we can see what it's like to work on it, the Duff experience. Well, did you see the Inmotion teardown? I mean, the Inmotion teardown it did a complete teardown down to the system board. Now, the tire and motor change looked pretty reasonable. To break it down further, like to break it all the way down, it got a little tedious. But I think doing a motor swap or a tire or tube change won't be that bad. But maybe. But I don't know that I want to subject myself to that kind of frustration unnecessarily. But the only thing I couldn't stand about that Inmotion V12 teardown, and I guess I should just turn the sound off, was the background music that they were playing the entire time. It was the same annoying, just horrible music over and over and over again. I did not enjoy that part of it. But I mean, it showed you what you need to see. But I mean, of course, it's a little different because it's basically just a visual thing. Like there's no commentary, there's no feedback about what they're doing. It's just like, and it's just you watching them work very quickly to take things apart. But it gives you the framework you need to do it yourself, I think. But maybe someday, Marty, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll get drunk and do it. I don't know. Marty says Z10 went to Chooch and then me. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were frustrated. That's right. Oh, that's right. And remember Chooch like dropped he dropped the PSI on that tire down to like 6 PSI or 7 PSI, something like that. Remember how low he had the pressure on that tire? I totally forgot about that. Because Chooch is so light. I mean, he might be 130 pounds. And that tire is so stiff. He dropped the PSI down to ridiculously low amounts. I do remember that as well. So thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I'm old. I need triggers to put stuff back in the spring. A lot of Chooch commentary. Chooch is on the chooch train. Yeah, kind of seems that way some days. Do you think Raymond Simmons says, do you think a wider than 3-inch tire has any benefits? Well, the tire on the Z10, is that 5 inches? I don't know. I don't feel like measuring it right now, but the Z10 wants to just go straight. It's as far as learning to go straight and balancing going straight, I don't know that there's a better wheel than the Z10 just because that tire is so big. It definitely wants to go straight. Now, like I said, the design of that thing with a battery being built into the middle of the motor, it wants to stay straight. It doesn't want to turn that well. The other advantage of a really wide tire is the ability to go over soft surfaces, potentially that another wheel will get stuck in. Because speaking about Chooch, I remember when he had the Z10, like he rode along like a lake bed or something, and he was very impressed with how he was able to roll through that kind of stuff instead of getting stuck. So that is definitely a plus of a wide tire. David, thank you for the package. Remind me, David, did you buy something in the store? I apologize. I wish I could remember every name in every order, but I do not, because I'm old. Daily One, you should blow up those Mexican panpipes in your videos. Worst sound ever. Oh, those. Oh, dude, you shouldn't have said that. Do I have it? Oh, I don't know that I have it. That's not panpipes. It's flutes. There's a whole. If you do a search on bad flute music, it's like a cult on YouTube. People that are into bad flute music, they're not into it. It just sounds so ridiculous. And yeah, I don't think I have it handy, but. And I only have like 3 or 4 of those songs. There. Now you said it. I mean, this is your fault. Okay. You asked for it. I'll just play a few seconds of it, just so you guys have reference to what he's talking about. I assume this is what he's talking about. But they take all of these famous songs and they they play them with flutes badly. Let's see, like this one. Oh, but this might get demonetized. Wait, hold on. I gotta get to the bad part. You get the idea. So yeah, I don't use it very often because I'm sure it is annoying, but I do think it's funny. Marty says the DC subboards were known issues with all newer Gotway emails. Okay. The wheel still works with no lights or fan. Really? All the new Gotways? Really? They all have that? Okay. So another Gotway QC issue? Wow. Haven't heard that before. Raymond says future motion should be called past motion since they are not innovating. I wish an EUC company would make one. I think part of the reason for that is because Future Motion is a American company. I think they are restricted by American regulations. Chinese companies, I don't think that they could make a device that goes 45 miles an hour and legally sell it in the United States. Someone might, excuse me, some people might clarify that, but that is my thinking, that they are limited on what they can actually put out there performance-wise because of regulations. Like I know certain scooters and stuff, like they're sold, like some dealers get around that by they're sold with like a limiter that's on like a scooter that can go 50 miles an hour, but it has a limiter that limits it to 30 kilometers an hour or whatever. Then, of course, as soon as the customer gets it, they remove that limiter and bang, they have full speed. But technically, the dealer is selling the device with that speed limiting in place. I think that might be one of the things that prevents Future Motion from going much higher with their performance. Just my thought. And I think an American company would have a similar problem, even though there is that company, that guy that's trying to make American-based EUCs. If he gets to any sort of size and gets any sort of attention from the government, then they would probably have similar problems with him as well. Gotway wheels, okay. I know what you meant, Marty. No problem. I speak, Marty. Joe says this is music Duff plays as he hits a buy button on a new wheel. Yeah, I don't play any music. I don't have time to play music because usually when I buy a new wheel, it's such a snap decision. I'm just like the stars align in my mind. Very, very, very light justification. Very light justification happens. Like, okay, let's see, what's a PayPal account having in it? Okay, that's enough. By the time the wheel actually is available, I can probably swing it. So yeah, let's buy it. That's pretty much the extent of the analysis that goes in and goes on in my brain when it comes to buying things like that. Daily One, seriously, a Z10 when we have all these new wheels coming out? Yes, seriously. Now, maybe you missed earlier. I do have a deposit on an S20. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting one of the newer wheels. We haven't really talked tonight about the newer wheels. I did mention the S20, but you have the Commander coming out, the Abrams. I have heard some preliminary things about the Abrams, some feedback that has not been very good about the Abrams. Just FYI, that might be a bit of a disappointment to some people, depending. The Commander, some people are getting excited about the Commander because it has a very large battery, and they're looking at it as a Sherman replacement. There's been back and forth rumors about the Sherman being discontinued because they weren't able to get the original battery cells, but now I heard that they have switched to Samsung cells, I guess, which they can get. So supposedly the Sherman is still going to be produced. But the Commander is looking to kind of take that crown from the Sherman. Commander's okay, but I have a Sherman, and the Sherman is more speed and range than I need already. So I have absolutely zero desire for a Commander. And I think I said that at one point about the Sherman, that I would never need a Sherman. I would never buy a Sherman. And then when I tested the eWheels demo Sherman, I decided I needed a Sherman. But I can tell you that I do not need a Commander, and I won't be buying a Commander. You can mark that one in blood if you want. The Hero, the Bugatti Hero, that does kind of interest me. It really does. But then that interest goes away quickly when you see a proposed price of $4,000 plus for that wheel. 1,800 watt-hour battery pack. No thanks. The S20 is going to probably be a superior wheel in most ways. But if you take the price out of the equation, I think the Hero is an interesting wheel. Some people say it's ugly. To me, it appeals to me much in the same way that the V11 appeals to me. It's kind of quirky looking, but the suspension, it's obviously borrowing from the S18 design. It probably will work well, with a much stronger motor and farther range. So I think the Hero is going to be a nice wheel, but I think they're going to have to find a way to get the price down. It has a control panel or a display in the top. It looks totally different. It doesn't have that core M Super style that so many of Gotway's wheels have had. So yeah, I think the Hero will be interesting. It's just the price. And let's see, what am I forgetting? Abrams, Commander, Hero, S20. That's all of them. Yeah. And the V12, I think Inmotion has kind of screwed the pooch as far as the way that they've handled the rollout of the V12. They started promoting it, and they gave Mickey a version, back I think around Christmas or something of 2020. They started promoting that wheel so early, but they didn't coordinate it with availability. So you build up all this excitement for a wheel, and then you just have a little tiny trickle of availability. It doesn't. It's a pretty bad strategy, and not the wheel to max. I mean, you want to maximize excitement right before the wheel is widely available. So people buy them. But when you get someone excited for something, and then they go on to the dealer website and they're like, okay, well, yeah, maybe you'll get it in 3 months. That's going to be a no-go for a lot of people. So I think they really kind of messed that up. They should have planned that out better. I don't know if part of it is because of Liam leaving, who was like the main public liaison for Inmotion, but I think they definitely screwed that up. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but yeah, whatever. If you guys are not familiar with my channel, sometimes I get on tangents, and something might start at one place, but it could end at a totally different place. So it's just the way it is. My content is not curated. It's not scripted. It's not phony. It's pretty genuine. So if that's okay with you, then I'm okay with you too. Marty asks, oh, okay. Duff, what are your initial reactions to that 26-inch Kickstarter wheel? The video of the guy riding it made it look like a horrible experience. Count me as not impressed. Wish them luck, though. Yeah. Wasn't Black Cobra like promoting that? Like he was going to be interviewing the guy? Yeah, those of you that haven't seen it, I don't know if I can get it up quickly. Maybe I can. I can talk while I do it. There is a guy that is making his own. There seems to be a number of these people now, right? That is making his own PUC. I guess he has a Kickstarter, and it almost looks like the motor itself, or the wheel, is the size of a 26-inch wheel is like the size of like a road bike tire, like a and a motorcycle tire almost. Let's see, do we have it here? I'm looking on Black Cobra's Facebook feed. I don't see it. No, I don't see it. But anyways, imagine if you took a motorcycle tire and then you put the electronics on top of it and you put a hub motor inside of it. If you saw the back view of this guy riding it, it literally looked like he was riding a horse. It was that wide. It looks so uncomfortable. Like Marty said, now with me with bow legs, I would probably fit. I'm tall. I could probably do it, but it does not look comfortable to ride standing. Maybe seated, it's okay. The other thing I noticed is it seemed like, because it's such a big wheel, that it was going very slow. Maybe that's just intentional, but I would think that the motor requirements to spin such a large diameter tire, that. Again, like Marty said, my interest is curiosity. I have no interest. It's curious, but as far as any sort of success there, I will not be backing that Kickstarter. Let's just say that, and I have a feeling that Marty will not be either. All right, daily one, right at the beginning of the stream, two guys from Australia. We're talking about the earthquake in Australia. Yeah, right around a 6. Hopefully nothing serious happened. I would think 6 is enough to damage some things. Okay, so Marty loves to correct me or clarify things for me, and it's fine. Sometimes I appreciate it, actually, but Marty says that the Z10 tire is 4.1 inches. I appreciate you getting it down to the 10th, because because literally if I would have said it's 4 inches, Marty would still correct me and say it's 4.1 inches. Just to be clear. So yeah, 4.81 inches. The battery, now I'm doing this from memory, Marty. I don't have a cheat sheet over here. The battery is 990 watts. Watt-hour battery. 990 or 995? I think 995. That's my final answer. 995 watt-hour battery pack. So yeah, it's not a huge battery. But if you've ever seen the internals of a Z10, the way that they have the battery pack, stuffed in there, it's crazy. Cynthia loves the flutes. Thank you. I love them too. They're just like everything in life, not everything, but most things in life are best enjoyed in moderation, right? Like chooch video titles, like bad flute music, like Miller Lite. Everything is best in moderation. It's just, if you live your life trying to adhere to that theory, you'll probably do okay. Extremism, even though everyone knows how extreme I am, but generally speaking, extremism is not the healthiest way to live. I'd rather get hit by another earthquake, but then have a Z10. Wow, Z10 haters. I didn't know that Z10 had people that disliked it that much. It's too bad. Sliders, gliders, you're awesome, blah, 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 except everybody, and like some of these people keep it will. Yeah, well, age will do that to you. Well, Actually, I've seen age turn some people into really shitty human beings as well. But generally speaking, if you keep an open mind, you try to be more accepting. If everybody was the same, it would be pretty boring, right? Don't you think? It would be like we were in Star Trek and we were living in a Borg colony. And you know who the Borg are? If you're a Star Trek fan, you would. Zach, a $4 super sticker? Really? Oh, wow. Wait, let me look. I'm only looking at the chat on StreamYard, so I don't see that stuff as easily. Let me look at this here. That's awesome, though, dude. If I do this, if I do that, turn that off. Wow. I've never seen that before. That must be a new YouTube thing. The super sticker. That's kind of cool. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Not necessary, but appreciated. Always, for sure. All right. Jose talking about this. He's talking about the solo wheel extreme algorithm as far as the best takeoff and braking. Okay. Oh, so it would tilt forward for acceleration and tilt back for braking. Well, I guess I shouldn't. Now the Z10, does it itself. I guess riding in soft mode. A lot of New York City riders talk about how, I love Gotway soft mode. I love riding in soft mode. And with soft mode, it's almost like you're on a seesaw. There's a lot of pedal tilt there. And for some reason, they've decided that they like that riding experience. I'm the exact opposite. I've always had my pedals hard as a table, and I just prefer that. I think Marty's the same way. But soft mode, I guess, would kind of give you that same sensation, sort of, I guess. So you had, okay. Jose said, so you had a Z10 twice? You bought a Z10 twice? You bought and sold a Z10 twice? And you had to sell the solo wheel because of COVID. Sorry to hear that, bud. Let's sample this. What's up, buddy? So I guess he has some insight on this. Future motion is being limited by a bunch of personal injury lawsuits. Really? Well, from people that have nosedived on it? That's interesting because, you would think, there's disclaimers with all of the documentation with one wheel, so they're getting sued because people are getting hurt on them. I guess that could be another scenario if you had an American EUC company as well. With all these Chinese companies, they're sort of insulated from that kind of stuff. Being in China, trying to sue a Chinese company would probably be a near impossible act. So, that's interesting. I'm curious with those lawsuits if there's been any successful lawsuits, like where Future Motion actually agreed to pay out money, because I would think that they would avoid doing that wherever possible, because if they would ever pay someone off for a situation like that, that would open the floodgates to massive legal action, I'm sure, because everybody would want to jump on board, get their share of the pie. Yeah, but I had not heard about that. That's interesting. Slew Dog says, I love my one wheel, but Future Motion can't really innovate much more with the current design. Bigger battery and 40 miles an hour would be lethal. Oh my God. Awful. My XR, the fastest I've ever had my XR is probably 16, maybe 17. It's fast enough. For me, a one wheel is not about speed. It's just the riding, the side stance, riding position is just it's more relaxing, it's more engaging, it's more fun for me. It's not about speed. I've seen guys that have pushed upper 20s, they might even touch 30 on one wheels, and some of them have fallen, and it hasn't been pretty. And it seems there's a lot of people in the one wheel community that that do not wear gear at all. And if you're falling at more than 20 miles an hour with no gear, there's going to be bad things that happen. But suing Future Motion for that is ridiculous in my opinion. But you have people that sue McDonald's because they spilled hot coffee on themselves. So yeah, that is part of our society that is kind of sad. You know, that people are willing to sue over anything and everything. Cynthia says, I always thought Tesla would get sued out of existence if everyone died or did self-driving mode. I do self-driving. Well, I do autopilot now. I don't have full self-driving anymore. Although I could pick it up now because Tesla has moved to a subscription model for that. If I want to pay $200 a month, I can have full self-driving on my car. Right now, full self-driving isn't good enough or reliable enough that I would consider doing that. But in the future, possibly I would. But I do use autopilot all the time in my commute. You know, because situations where I'm in traffic that's stop and go, it's great. Situations when you're on like near highway conditions, it's great. But I still pay attention. I'm not like one of these idiots that sits there, puts it in autopilot and reads the paper, or is posting on Instagram, or hops in the back seat, while the car is driving. No. But unfortunately, those idiots exist, and it doesn't take a lot of them to give a company a very bad reputation. Because if you would take the amount of accidents divided by the amount of successful miles that have been driven on autopilot compared to the amount of accidents where human beings are in full control, divided by miles, Tesla would finish many factors ahead as far as safety goes. In most cases, the car sees and reacts to things faster than any human being will. And I've seen that repeatedly. Marty, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, Marty. Your Southern California tour starts in 24 days. That's right. Wow. 90 registered riders so far. Because I thought last year you got close to 100, but not over 100, right? So yeah, I wonder if you'll get over 100 total. And at least one person's coming from Florida. That's great. Yeah, I mean, especially now with the change in my relationship situation, I definitely could do that. I could logistically go, but physically, dude, I my back is it's too screwed. I can't. I would be a mess. And I would be very disappointed and frustrated and angry with myself if I flew out there and couldn't ride, because I'd be destroyed on day one. That's the big thing. I mean, it's to the point now where I'm actually considering going to a chiropractor. I've been trying to do all sorts of self-care with this, stretching, trying to do things to not aggravate it. But I actually know someone that's a chiropractor. I might have him go and look at it and just see and do an X-ray or just something, just so I have a better idea of what's going on, because it's going on. I've always had issues like off and on, during my adulthood, but usually they were short-lived. It would hurt sometimes, but then it was fine for long periods of time. Starting last year in 2020 is when it's become like far more often than not, I am dealing with, and it sucks, man. I'm glad that you don't have that problem, because anyone that's had back pain knows that how detrimental it is. It affects everything that you do. It sucks, man. Marty's giving over $5,000 of prizes. Yeah, you told me. What are you giving away? Are you giving away a Sherman? I don't remember. I thought you mentioned some of the stuff you were giving away. Yeah, it sounds like you have a nice set of prizes. That's awesome. Cynthia's a fellow Trekkie. Cool. I wouldn't say I'm a Trekkie, but I do like Star Trek. I like science fiction. Still not sponsored by DD. Maybe Miller Lite would be interested. There's a period of time, like whenever I would do a video that had Dunkin' Donuts involved, that I would tweet it to the Dunkin' Donuts Twitter account. I did that a few times. Obviously, it didn't have any effect, but maybe I should start again. I don't know. I do promote them quite heavily. Let's sample this. The nosedive is real. Yeah. I've never nosedived, but I don't push it to that level. As soon as I get pushback, I am off it. The guys that set new speed records, they lean into that pushback, and they much like you'll hear a lot of the high speed EUC riders say that they can sense when they have another mile or two to go before the thing cuts out. So one wheelers feel the same thing, I guess. It's funny, like nosediving has become prevalent enough. Like there's companies that sell, they call them fangs, and they're basically little roller wheels that you put on the front of the board. So if it nosedives, and those of you that never rode a one wheel, a nosedive is when, much like an EUC, when you overpower the motor, it stops balancing you and the nose drops. Now, in most situations, when the nose drops, that drag is going to send you flying off the wheel, and you could, break your wrist, break your collarbone, or worse. When that happens, break your face. But in theory, the fangs will roll. So hopefully, if you have the skill, you can stay on the board. Because I believe, if it does nosedive, if you back off and you manage to stay on the board, that it will pick up again and start balancing again if you are able to survive that. But I've never cared to try that. Doesn't interest me. Tarada Mashi, KingSong 14D or Inmotion V5F or V8F for under 1,000 budget as a starter. I guess, yeah, but for me, to learn on a wheel, the bigger the diameter, the better, because of what I referred to earlier with being able to brace your lower leg on the wheel for mounting and dismounting, and stability. I think a bigger shell wheel is better for that. The wheel I learned on was the Ninebot 1E+, which is a 16-inch wheel, although the case on that was not all that high. Like the case on a 16X, for example, is much taller, and it's easier. It was easier for me to brace my leg on a 16X than it ever was in the Ninebot 1E+. But yeah, all three of those wheels are good wheels, quality wheels. Harman Robotics, the McD coffee lawsuit was legit. Yeah, no, I know it was. Yeah, I read about it. I'll look into the details. It's not what most people think. So, was the claim the only thing I could imagine is because I remember it was pitched that the coffee was too hot. It was too hot, but maybe the employee didn't put the lid on right, or I don't know. I mean, I've had that at Dunkin' Donuts. One thing that annoys me at Dunkin' Donuts, and I've ranted about this on video before. A year or two ago, they went from the styrofoam cups to paper cups. Paper cups are more environmentally friendly. The problem was with these paper cups, they stayed with the old lids that they used to use on the styrofoam cups, and they did not fit right on the paper cups. So they would hand you this coffee, and then as soon as you start drinking it, coffee starts streaming down the sides, and it was annoying as hell. It was happening all the time, and I would complain all the time. And the staff would say, "We know, we tell them, but they don't fit right." So now they came up with a different situation. Now, the situation they came up with now, because the way it used to work, the lids, those of you that are Dunkin' Donuts coffee drinkers for a number of years, the old lids, they had like a built-in cap for the little hole that you drink out of. It was like built into the lid. You would just snap it down, and when you were ready to drink, you just pop it off, and it would just be out of the way. They came up with a new lid, And now the new lid, it doesn't have that integrated into it for some reason. Their solution now has been when they give you a coffee, they put this lid on that has no integrated cap for the hole. So they give you an auxiliary little brown stick that gets shoved in the hole to keep the coffee from spilling out on you until you are ready to drink it. Now, that is obviously not the most environmentally friendly use of plastic, where you're pulling this thing out and then I throw it in recycling. I don't even know if it's recyclable or not, but they do that. But my point is, even with this new arrangement with the lid, the new lid that supposedly is made for the coffee cup, if you look at the top of the coffee cup, there's always a seam. There's a seam in the lip of the top of the coffee cup. And if they don't pay attention and they put the hole that you drink out of aligned with that seam, when you start to drink, it will leak there every time. And I don't understand why employees don't realize this, because I can't tell you how many times that I get coffee, I start to drink and it starts to leak on me, and I pull the lid off and I'm like, the seam is there. Why did you put the hole by the seam? This is ridiculous, I know. But anyways, yeah, all you got to do is just make sure that the hole is the opposite side of the seam. Problem solved. But, I don't know. First world problems, I guess. But just, the moral of the story is just keep the hole away from the seam, and everything's better. But you guys never knew you'd be talking about that on the live stream, EUC live stream. Okay, let's sample this. If Future Motion was not so tied up with this so much BS, they could improve the one wheel, extending the range, not the speed. Yeah, so you're kind of echoing what I said, that I think that they're capped speed-wise. They're not going to be able to go any faster than what they are now. Like with an XR, it's funny, they advertise it as a top speed of 19, but it starts to tip you at 16. It'll start to tilt you back at 16. And that's not configurable. It's not like an EUC where you can say, okay, well tip me back at 19. It will start to tip you at 16, even though they post the top speed as 19 miles an hour. Raymond says, if one wheel had a bigger wheel and beep instead of just tilt back, approximately 30 miles an hour suspension, maybe larger battery, people wear pads, cutout is cutout. Yeah, cutout is cutout, but I think there is definitely something inherently more problematic with side stance when you get ejected. Side stance, I think it's more difficult to survive a fall when your starting position is side stance versus an EUC position where you're already facing forward. That's my opinion. Now, I have seen people that expertly run off of one wheels. They catch a rock or whatever, and they're really good at running out of them. But I think overall, it's more problematic to get launched when you're in side stance versus facing forwards. Marty said he had 91 at the California tour last year. Okay, so yeah, I imagine you'll get more people yet, right? You still got a month, so. EUC Vibes is here. Hey, man, I saw that you're close to 1,000 subscribers on your channel. Good job, man. You're doing great. I see your stuff pretty regularly. So Marty says you've had back pain throughout the years. The last 10 years or so has been much better. So what was the turning point on your back pain? Did you do anything, or did it just stop hurting? I wish mine would stop hurting. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know. I don't know if it's a structural thing in my back or if it's muscular. I don't know. All I can tell you is Advil takes the edge off. Like even if it's hurting me really strongly, I can take Advil and function, pretty normally. And Advil, basically, is an anti-inflammatory. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But I mean, my brother has back issues. My mom always had back issues. So I mean, back issues is sort of a thing in our family. My sister has had back issues. So, but it's just the older I'm getting, the more of an issue it is becoming. So there's hope for me. Okay, well, like maybe there's hope if you tell me if you did something significant to change that situation. You know, obviously I still, you know, I'm still active. I still exercise. I still try to, you know, maintain my health, but it's not helping me much with the back right now. Raymond talking about fangs. Yeah, I've seen fangs with small wheels and bigger wheels, actually. Adding those would be great too. You'd survive the cutout. Can't do that easily on an EUC. Well, I don't know that it's easy. I mean, I think you still have to have some skill to survive a cutout, even if you have fangs, because that sudden shift from this position down to here, that you need some lightning fast reactions and be able to adjust your center of gravity very quickly to survive that, I would think. But I mean, I'm a very basic one-wheel rider. I am not anything close to a skilled one-wheel rider. So what may seem difficult to impossible to me might be child's play to others. Slew Dog, did you ever hear or watch a one-wheel race for the rail competition? Yes. I've seen some of that, and it looks insane. You have all these guys on one wheels in very close proximity on trails, and there's a lot of falling. And they ride over like almost like BMX style obstacles and banked turns and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, I have seen a few of those, and those guys are all very impressive. Do you think Future Motion is spending so much on lawyers that they can't pay for R&D? I don't know. Lawyers are expensive. I know that. I am really curious, you know, like what they're like, because it seems to me, I mean, from my perspective, that there's been a lot of one-wheel riders that have migrated to EUCs. I see that post a lot. You know, I'm getting my first EUC. You know, I'm a one-wheel rider. It seems like there's a lot of people that are coming over. And I would imagine that can't be very good for their bottom line, for one wheel's bottom line. But there are still, I mean, there's a ton more one wheel riders still than there are EUC riders. But I think the momentum is definitely swinging more and more towards EUCs. Talking again about the hot McDonald's coffee, it was crazy. There are pictures of how severe the burns were. Well, so like maybe like boiling hot. I don't know. I mean, coffee can be pretty darn hot at times, but who knows? Yeah, there's especially with these paper cups. You know, there's times where it's a little challenging to even hold the cup. So I would imagine if that spilled on me, I could maybe get burned. But yeah, maybe it was really, really hot. I don't know. But I still don't think that negates my point that frivolous lawsuits are a real problem in the United States. There's countless examples. Bruce MacLeod, good to see some Z10 loving. Been quiet since the other Sean stopped writing his. Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of content now. Obviously, I have to do more stuff with the V12 as well. But this weekend, I plan to ride the Z10 quite a bit, if at all possible. The next thing I want to do with the V12 is my Florida version of a hill test. Now, I've done it. I did it with the Z10, ironically. Down in Marco, there's an area that is hilly. There's a hill called Indian Hill, which isn't that long, but it is rather steep. And what I'd like to do with the V12 is just bounce back and forth. Just keep going. Like with the Z10, I only did it a few times. With other wheels, I've only done it a few times. I want to do 10 back and forth on it, or 20. I don't know, and just see if there's a significant temperature change on the V12. Again, the V12 has no fan in it, just like the V11, but supposedly they have a much larger passive heat sink. And even though it still uses the same smaller MOSFETs, which I don't understand, that the V11 uses, both KingSong and Bugatti have been using the larger T247 MOSFETs for years, but for some reason Inmotion has not done that. But supposedly there's a much better heat sink on the V12. So I am curious if there's any significant temperature change if I hit it with hills nonstop like that. So that is on my to-do list. The swamp is off the list for now because they are rebuilding the boardwalk that goes to the swamp. So I can't even access the swamp really right now, unless I want to take a raft across the water. And I don't want to do that. So yeah, the swamp is going to be off the menu for a while. And it's probably flooded as well. Hey, Senior Coffee himself is here. Mike Higgs. See your Z10 behind me, bud? Looks good, doesn't it? Unfortunately, no chance to ride. Maybe tomorrow if it's not raining. Maybe. Marty says, listen to the Business Wars podcast for their series on Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks. Extremely interesting how that battle was fought. Really? I wasn't really aware of a battle. I mean, obviously they're competitors, but I wasn't aware of the battle that was being fought. But I would probably find that interesting. Duff is applying for a coffee cup engineer job at Dunkin' Donuts. It's just common sense to me. You know, if you work at Dunkin' Donuts, it shouldn't take very long to identify that if you put the lid in a certain position, it's going to leak. And if you don't put it in that position, it's not. I mean, maybe it's just me. I mean, maybe like if I identified a problem like that, I would probably quickly learn to not do it that way. But again, maybe it's just me. I don't know. I could be the weird one. It's probably me. I'm just strange. I've been told that more than once. Yes, Mike, the Z10 made it here safely. I mentioned to you when we were chatting earlier that it's raining here today, and I mentioned this earlier on the live stream. And we had said that, okay, you said that sometimes when UPS delivers something when it's raining, they'll put a plastic bag on it or whatever. And I said, I hope they put it close to the door because I have an overhang over my front door. Well, they didn't. They didn't put a plastic bag on it, and they didn't put it by the front door on the overhang. They put it up against the garage door. Now, through a stroke of luck, rain was blowing the opposite direction, so it didn't actually soak the box, and you actually wrapped it quite a bit in packing tape. So it got damp, but it didn't get soaked. Luckily, the box is still usable and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, UPS was kind of stupid. Someone wasn't using their brain there. You're going tonight? You're going to bed, Marty? What the heck? It's only 7 o'clock there, dude. I mean, I understand you're 60 now or whatever, but man. I know you're going out for a midnight ride again, aren't you? You just love those midnight rides, dude. Jeffrey uses a foam back roll. I have a roller. Well, I had. I think Cindy has it now, but I had a roller, and I was using it primarily for my IT band, to roll my IT band, and it is helpful. But it was so painful for me to do it, rolling out my IT band. It hurt like a son of a bitch. That it stopped me from doing it consistently, which isn't an excuse. It's not a good excuse because if you do it consistently, it hurts less. And you get the ability, or you get the advantage of having a looser IT band. Like tight IT bands it's a common runner injury. It's basically a band that runs from your hip down to your knee. And when they get tight, it causes all kinds of issues. It causes hip pain. It causes knee issues. So something that they've always recommended for runners is to roll your IT band. I've never tried rolling my lower back. I've been doing, Cynthia, I think you suggested in the last live stream, I don't know if it's the AMA when I was drunk at the hotel, but doing the stiff-legged leg swing thing. I have been doing that actually at the gym as part of my stretching routine. I hold onto a pole and I swing my leg forward and backwards, and bringing it forwards, I can actually get my foot almost pretty much up to my face. So I do have some good flexibility there, but I have been trying to do that with both legs when I warm up. But I do still have the back pain. Again, some days it's good. Some days it's not so good. More days not so good than good. Bruce says, look forward to some Z10 themed 3D prints. There's a kickstand. Yeah, I haven't even looked at 3D prints for the Z10. I'm not aware of what models are out there. obviously I sell stands that work with the Z10, but I've never done anything beyond that. So I'll have to look at what's available, and maybe I could come up with something. I don't know. We'll see. I kind of like the way the Z10 looks as is. Oh man, almost 10 o'clock already, really? Eyes are burning. Jose says the Z10 front light was updated to point down. Factory OG had it facing more straight. Z10 had parts of it. Blah, 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 blah. You won't have a problem going forward. Okay. No, I did not know that. I did not know it was updated to, the light was updated to point down. But I don't ride at night very often. And I like that's another thing that I like about the Z10 is the daytime running light. I think that looks cool. Sliders, gliders, going to bed. Night, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yeah, Mike, it must be weird seeing the wheel that you just boxed up a few days ago sitting here on the live stream. Ray says, I think it's interesting how manufacturers keep raising the voltage of the wheels. Where do you think it plateaus? I don't know. 126, the 126 volt on the S20 Eagle is quite a jump from the 100 volt that exists on all other wheels up until this point. And even all the new wheels other than the S20 are still 100 volt wheels. Even though the Abrams initially was reported as being 116 volts, which it is not. It is a 100 volt wheel. In theory, a higher voltage wheel allows a higher top speed. Now, in KingSong's case, because KingSong is more concerned with having a safety buffer, having that 126 volts allows them to have a top speed of roughly 44 miles an hour with enough overhead that that allows enough a safety margin that KingSong deems acceptable for a rider to go that speed. So basically, the simple understanding I have is the higher the voltage, the higher the potential top speed. Basically, that's why like when we did the jump from 84 volt to 100 volt wheels, the top speed of those wheels all increased proportionately. Rocky Top. Yeah, there you go, man. See, I'm not alone. This coffee cup stuff is not rocket science. People should be able to figure that out. And I do. Lately, I've been just trusting them. I haven't checked it lately. Because sometimes the other thing that happens is sometimes they overfill them. And they fill the cups to the very brim. So it's like a booby trap. So if you're holding the cup and you want to check where the seam is, you pull the lid off, and because the coffee cup is so full, you spill coffee all over yourself. Because it's so damn full. So it's a catch-22, man. I mean, it's coffee. It shouldn't be that complicated. That's my opinion. It should just work. Let's sample this. So let's sample this. You're Sudoku, right? Or Sudo? Shit. Let me look it up. Because I remember that this is your YouTube channel. I do remember things once in a while. Believe it or not. All right. Where are you? Where are you? Sumaku. Let's sample this as Sumaku, right? Sumaku Zazdatel. Correct? Am I correct there? I think I am. Might not be, though. It'll be the first time. Brett says, have a Zima. Yeah, I've been, like I said, I only have like 2 or 3 left, so I'm saving them for a special occasion. The problem is, I'm not sure what that occasion is. I don't know what occasion is special enough to merit drinking one of my couple of Zimas I have left, because I don't know that I'm ever going to get a Zima again in the rest of my life. So it has to be a pretty special occasion. And they're at this point, they're expired, of course. I don't care, but they're expired. So I don't know if drinking expired Zima has any health consequences, but they are definitely expired at this point. I don't care. Benjamin says, are you going to get an S20? Yes. I think the same day that eWheels announced the $100 deposit to hold yourself in line, I placed that deposit. Yes, I'm getting an S20. No doubt about it. Oh, Sumako sent a voice message. I don't want to listen to it on the stream, though, dude. Cynthia says, you aren't strange. You're smart and have great ideas. I am just being silly. I think about stuff like that. 2 easy solutions. Yeah, Sumaku, you're sending me stuff, man. Type it. Don't do a voice message because I don't want to play it on stream. I mean, you might be calling me names and stuff. Sumaku artist. Okay. Is Sumaku like a type of art, or is that your name? I never know. I mean, sometimes I make assumptions and they're not correct. Brett says you're alive. Oh, that's the occasion that I should drink a Zima. Well, it's definitely not a Tuesday night, and I could be drinking a Zima to celebrate the end of summer, but instead I'm drinking a Miller Lite from 4th of July. So I guess that's good enough. All right, hold on. What I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to put on my headphones so I can hear what Sumaku sent me. So just let's see here. I'm listening. Sumako, right? There you go. Okay, it's Sumako. Now I know. Cool. I think Sumako was involved in Mickey was out in California, right? And wasn't it like I don't know. I don't know details about it. Something like VR environment or something. I don't know. But Sumako was involved in that, I believe. So yeah, like I assume that you are an artist, which is cool. Flips here, UC Chronicles. What's up, man? You missed a lot. Since they started at 8 o'clock, man, you missed a lot. And you know, I'm running out of gas here. My eyes are burning, and you know, I'm drinking my Miller Lite from 4th of July. Yeah, we talked about a lot, dude, but it's not necessarily all EUCs. A lot of beer talk, a lot of random conversation, as promised. If you expect me to stay on one subject, you're not going to be very happy. My recommendation would be to watch back the stream from the beginning. And those of you that don't know, I mentioned this. I usually only mention it at the end of the stream, and we're probably close to the end of the stream again. But I actually do convert all of these live streams to podcasts. If you search on the popular podcast services for Duff's PEV live stream, you should find it. And yeah, all of these are converted to podcasts, and they actually do translate pretty well. They're relatively entertaining in podcast format as well. And this is my 49th episode. Yeah, this would be my 49th episode. So the next live stream I do will be the 50th. So maybe drink a Zima there. I don't know. I don't know. Like I had mentioned somewhere. Oh, in the last video, I think I did. Yeah, I probably will be live streaming more often than I have in the past. Like for the last year and a half, my live stream schedule, I never had a schedule, but it usually was like every month to 2 months I would do a live stream. But I would think that it's going to be more often now. Brett, do I think that? No, I don't think that. We're in good terms. It's a sad scenario, but I mean, life is filled with sad scenarios, and it's just a matter of what you do about them, right? And how you come out of them on the other side. And hopefully, we both come out in a better position. That's the goal. I think Tor Tamashi, maybe you're not familiar with my inventory of wheels. I already have a Sherman. I have a veteran Sherman. I've had one for a decent amount of time. And because I have a Sherman, I have no interest in an Abrams. So no, I will not be getting an Abrams. I do have a Sherman. If you look at my channel and you search for Sherman, you will see a bunch of Sherman content. I've done a number of things with it. Flip, you're missing everything. Flip, I think this is the first time that I don't remember you being in a live stream before, dude. I don't. Maybe I'm forgetting it, which is quite possible. But I don't remember you ever being on a live stream. So welcome. Okay, so Sumako said yes. He hosted an art event which featured Mickey's fine virtually reality art. Okay, is that all that it was, the art event, or that he was just part of it? Yeah, because I saw the banner or whatever about it, but I didn't really know details about it. I haven't talked to Mickey in a while. At some point, you'd love to get a Sherman. Mike would love to get a Sherman. Yeah, you would love it. Yeah, I'm sure you would love it. It really is. Even for someone that isn't a mad speed demon, just to have that capability makes you feel more confident at speed, safer at speed. And the range is so crazy that, for someone like me, I mean, like Marty, counts on that range nowadays. It seems like he needs a wheel that goes that far. It almost seems for a lot of his rides. But just for me, just to know that I can go out and ride further than my body would even tolerate, and I would still have the range to do so as quickly as I want to go as well. I could do the 35 to 40 mile ride out to Ave Maria, pushing 30 miles an hour and still have enough battery to get back with some to spare. So the Sherman is the only wheel that I own that I can do that on. I like the Sherman a lot. Also, Sumaku curates these events every month, really. So is that like your full-time gig? That's what you do for a living? You're an artist? If so, congrats, man. That always seemed like such a challenging way to earn, make a living. But if you can make it work, that's awesome. Flip says, I'll watch a full stream. Sounds like it was a good one. Yeah, watch it. Or like I said, you can listen to it. If you're into podcasts, you can listen to it as a podcast. Usually it takes YouTube. It's taking them longer and longer. It takes them like a day until they have a downloadable file. Oh wait, no, that's right. I forgot. I can download this file from StreamYard immediately. That's right. I used to have to wait for YouTube to do this, but now I forgot that that is one of the features of StreamYard is they keep an archive of your broadcast for 6 months, maybe something like that. So I can actually just download that from StreamYard and use that to make the podcast. So that's I'm glad I reminded myself of that. Mike says, senior coffee. And we talked about this like when during the process of buying the Z10, I actually called Mike. Mike asked me to call him, and he told me this story, how trusting me to recall the details accurately, Mike, might be dangerous. But basically, I think he said that he saw because Mike was a one-wheeler, right? And he saw one of my one-wheel videos where I had on my XR, and I think on my Pint as well, I had and I still have an EUC Army sticker on it. And he's like, what's an EUC? And just based on that, he went to my EUC Army site and he got the base knowledge, and that actually set him on his journey into EUC. So I thought that was kind of funny. And I told him, I hear those stories, pretty regularly that people say that, hey, yeah, you were one of the guys that really stoked my interest in EUCs. And every time I hear that, it's just it makes me feel good. It's just makes me appreciate the effort that I put into putting content out there, that it actually helps people and gets them interested in this hobby. Because I mean, in many ways, this hobby is really life changing. It can be. It gets you to experience things in a totally different way. The whole act of learning to ride an electric unicycle is very rewarding, and being able to do something that just anyone can get on a scooter and ride a scooter around. But not just anyone can get on an EUC. And once you learn and master that, and then you get to experience some of the freedom that gives you, it can be life-changing for a lot of people. It also can be wallet draining as well, because it can be, if I was stupid enough to add up how many thousands of dollars I've spent on this hobby since I got into it, I might not feel quite as good about it. But overall, I am definitely happy that I've gone the way I have. Brett says, "How's your blood?" Oh, you remember that? Yes. Yeah. Let's since this has been a health advice stream as well. For a period about a year and a half, I had random, weird fatigue. I would say there was these situations where I would just be getting very tired, just not feeling normal. And it went on for like a year and a half. I had all kinds of testing done. They tested my lungs. They tested my heart, multiple blood tests for all kinds of stuff. They did a stress test on me. They gave me a cardiac CT. Is that the right term for it? Where they basically they do a CT, but they're just checking the arteries in your chest and stuff. All kinds of tests, and nothing ever revealed anything. And then out of the blue, because I was trying to do my own investigation at the same time. Oh, they tested my thyroid. They tested everything you can imagine. But then one day I asked the person at the med clinic if they could run a heavy metals test. And I don't remember exactly what got me on that path, but I asked them to do a heavy metals test. And when they did, they found a high level of thallium in my blood. And thallium, if you've ever heard the word thallium before, that's something that used to be used in rat poison, and it's used in other substances. And if you look it up nowadays, thallium could be found in like electronics. I think there's much of it being found in Roundup as well. So there was never ever any definite correlation of how this would happen or why it would happen. But if you look at thallium side effects or heavy metal side effects in general in your bloodstream, it can just wreak havoc with all kinds of things. So my level was high, and basically all that we did was I went back and I retested like 3 months later, because I started feeling better. I wasn't feeling the fatigue anymore. We retested, and the level had dropped a little bit. It dropped below the danger zone, just barely below, but it had dropped below it. And I didn't have those fatigue episodes anymore, so I didn't get tested further. I don't know what my thallium level is now, but I'm feeling more or less okay. So yeah, that's one of the several weird health issues that I've been experiencing over recent years. It's funny, and I might have told this story before. I probably did. Years ago, when I was probably in my early 40s, there was a guy that came out to work on my water equipment, and he was in his mid 50s or something like that. And he was just complaining about aches and pains and how he feels like shit and blah 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 blah. And he said to me, and this is something that always stuck with me. He says, "Let me tell you, once you cross 50, every year is a dog year," and that always stuck with me. And unfortunately, it feels to me like he's a prophet, and it's true, because I've had more health issues over the last 3 years. I'm 53 now, than I probably had in the last 20 years combined. So yeah, every year over 50 is a dog year. Keep that in mind. Unless you're Marty, of course. But yeah, for me. Okay, so there's 25 plus artists at this event that Sumaku hosted. Cool. Oh, wow, Micah. So I recollected that scenario correctly? Yes. All right. I haven't totally lost my mind yet. Good. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how much national news this is making. Obviously, it's making news around here. There's this girl, Gabby Petito, and her boyfriend. His last name is Landry, I believe. It's interesting. They did a cross, and I'll make this brief. They did a cross country trip. They were in the middle of a cross country trip. Like so many people, they thought that they could take advantage of social media, and they documented this. They've been documenting this trip across the country on YouTube. I don't know where else they were doing it, but they were documenting it. And she's a young, attractive girl, happy-go-lucky, and he seemed they seemed like a very happy couple. And all of a sudden, she was reported missing. And she was reported missing after the boyfriend returned home to Northport, Florida, in her van, evidently. And he was not, I guess he was not arrested because they didn't have sufficient evidence to do that, but he was a person of interest, is what I was told. So she was missing. They hadn't heard from her since the end of August, I guess. And the boyfriend would not talk to police. They wanted to talk to him. They would not talk to police. I guess he got a lawyer, and his lawyer was telling him to not talk to police. So in the meantime, I think just today it was announced that they found remains, yesterday or today, they found the remains of this girl out in Wyoming, I believe. And now this boyfriend is of very particular interest, but evidently somehow last week, I believe, he left his house. I think he lives with his parents, left the house and went to some supposedly national park in Florida, some like 25,000 acre national park in Florida. And no one knows where he is now either. So now there's all sorts of police and FBI resources trying to track this guy down. Now it's officially being ruled as a homicide. So it's a big whodunit. Very weird scenario. I saw the body cam footage that the police shot. There was an incident where evidently she was freaking out, and they had an argument, was like slapped him and got hysterical. And I watched some of that. So, I mean, she definitely had some emotional issues, and obviously he did as well. So who knows what happened? It's probably not going to be a good scenario, but they are looking for this guy, and I'm waiting for the discovery that he killed himself or whatever. If he was involved with this girl dying or being killed, I would kind of see that as an expected conclusion of this, but there is no conclusion right now. No one knows where he is, except that, and that's only if his parents told the truth that's where they thought he was. But who knows if that's actually what happened? I don't know. And good night, Cynthia. You're probably gone already. No, Mike, I didn't do an unboxing per se. I just had it I just have it on the table behind me. It's a 3-year-old wheel, so I didn't go in depth about it. I actually did shoot me unboxing it on my GoPro, which will be part of whatever video I do on it next. So I do have the unboxing on video, but yeah, nothing on live stream. Very interesting how it dropped after being tested. What dropped after being tested? Oh, the thallium? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would happen, but it is strange. So when Sumaku is not doing public art projects, I create logos and branding. Oh, so you're like a graphic artist? Oh, cool. I've had people do work for me, like the No Skill Zombie Rider logo, for example. I had someone on Fiverr do that for me. Maybe I need to have someone like you do logo work for me sometime. I don't know. So Flip's been watching the Gabby case. Yeah, it is super sad. Really is sad. it's yeah, you just never know. But in this situation, the fact that they were documenting it and portraying it to the world as, here we go on our adventure, and we're the happy, vibrant couple, and and one of you wind up being dead. It's yeah, definitely going to be a Dateline episode for sure. Definitely, unfortunately. So okay, guys, it's we're at 10:30 now. It's a school night. I have to get up at 5:40 in the morning to tend to the chickens because that's part of my new reality. So yeah, no Zima tonight, Brett. But when I do have my next Zima, I will do it on stream. Okay, so I'll make that commitment at least. So okay, guys, thanks for stopping by, and I appreciate everyone's participation. Look for another live stream soon. Until next time, Duffman out.